Alright, welcome to this edition of Training Corner. Today we're going to be bump testing the Qrae. This is the 4-gas unit that we have on 3 of our rigs. So, in order to do this, we're going to need our monitor. You're going to need to turn it on, let it warm up, and we're going to need our cylinder gas and our regulator. The regulator should be the kind that has the male threads on it, so we're just going to thread it in here. I'm not going to thread it all the way in just yet. But what we want to do is, once you do get it on, you want to make sure to take note of the gauge reading. Once it gets down to about 100, then you want to let your captain know, and we can order some more gas. Stay on top of that. Okay, so what the bump test is making sure that the gas detector is actually going to read what it's supposed to read. The reason we do this is because some of these sensors fail to 0, and if you didn't bump test it, you could potentially go into an IDLH atmosphere and not know it, and deem an area safe that actually isn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply the gas to the monitor while it's running, and we're going to want to make sure that it has these values come up. Now, it doesn't have to hit all the way on these, it just has to be about 90%. We're just, again, making sure that we're getting a reading and that the sensor is actually functioning. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, after we fire up our sensor and it warms up, we're going to go ahead and do a fresh air calibration. Now you want to make sure you do this in a clean atmosphere, so away from any running engines or any suspected toxic environments. So if you're going to go into a house, you want to make sure that this is you're doing it well away from the house. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit the no button and the mode button at the same time, and we're going to hold both of them down. Now the monitor is going to go into data log paused. You can let go, and it's going to ask if we want to calibrate the monitor, and we're going to say yes. So we hit the yes button, and it's going to ask if we want to do a fresh air calibration. We're going to say yes. So it's going to say 0 in progress, and it's going to go through the individual sensors and 0 them individually. Now this just takes around a minute. It doesn't take too long. And once it goes back, we'll say 0 cal reading done, and we're going to select, we're going to hit the mode button now. Okay, it's going to ask us if we want a multiple sensor calibration, and we're just going to hit the mode button. What the mode button is going to do, we're going to keep hitting it until it says data log resumed, and that means we're out of program mode now, and we are into the monitor. Okay, so once we've accomplished our 0 calibration and all of our sensors read 0 or 20.9, we're going to apply our gas. So we're going to set that down there, and you always want to turn your gas on before you apply it. So I'm just going to turn it on, hear a little bit coming out, and then I'm just going to stick it on there. Now, again, we're just watching the monitor. It's good to do this in an open environment, someplace that has good ventilation, just because the hydrogen sulfide gas isn't good to breathe. It's a low concentration, but it's a fairly low exposure, so it's not a concern, but all the same, do it in a well-ventilated area. Okay, so now we're looking at, we have our CO, it's going up 41. We have our H2S, and that's coming up, that should be 25. So we've registered that we have a reading. That's good enough for me. We know that we're going to get a reading, it doesn't have to come up. So now I'm going to take this off, I'm going to shut my gas off. I really only had it on there for about 30 seconds or so, long enough for it to, again, give me a reading. And we don't want to use a ton of gas by doing that. So now what we have to do is we wait. And we're just going to wait until these sensors come back down to 0. They may come down to a point where they're reading like 1 or 2. And that's okay too, but as close to 0 as you can get, and then of course our reading 20.9. You're going to let that sit for a couple minutes after you're done, and then you're ready to go. You've confirmed that your sensors are working, now you're ready to test your atmosphere.